Hi guys, so I hope you enjoyed the way we left the video with a cliffhanger, and I guess some of you have been in the comments and suggested how to get in this, but my friend Carlos called in today. We were looking at doing a collaboration, and I asked him if he could get into this computer. So this is all Carlos, so basically the front comes off, but this is quite unusual. So we have here on the front metal case like metal tabs.
Yeah, the normal thing is that the plastic here actually clips into the case and not the other way around. I haven't seen a case like this before either.
No, me neither. It's unusual. So your last thing, guys, and then we're going to have the big reveal of what's inside this. So Carlos and myself have been chatting. My thoughts I put on the end of the last video. It's not like an original Pentium 1 because they were AT, and I don't think it's a Pentium 2 because it doesn't have any USB on the ATX motherboard. Carlos, any thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts was maybe an early AMD system or something, but that would be really hard. They had AT variants, and all of them had USB as well. So maybe a Cyrex.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'm thinking the Cyrex are from the. No, they had like a.
Yeah, they had some in between time in between the AT and ATX era.
Sure.
So could be an early Cyrex. Either way, it's an unusual machine, and it has a nice goodie inside, I think.
I'm sure, yeah. And one thing last we said, if this is an ATX 486, it's got to be extremely rare.
Yeah, it is.
If such a thing even existed.
I haven't seen one.
Me neither. I guess some of you guys can shout out at the screen. So we are going to find out what is inside this.
Yeah, hopefully it's something really nice. If you're right about the graphics card, that will be a really nice surprise.
Yeah, I didn't actually tell the guys on the channel what I know it is. I asked if there was anybody who didn't know what it was.
I guessed it right away.
You did. So
I had one.
So
let's see if you can get it off. Oh, okay,
we're in.
Okay,
so what do we have? It's a Pentium 2.
It is a P2.
It's a P2. Yeah, let's just zoom down on it.
It's one of the big slot ones.
Yeah, slot A.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, it's slot A, yeah.
Well, this must be really early because...
and you were right about the graphics card.
I was right about the graphics card. Yeah.
It is.
It is. So, yeah, look, guys, there's no CMOS battery in it, so somebody's taken that out, maybe to preserve this. Look how clean it is.
It has an AGP port.
Of course it has an AGP port. So, we have a Matrox...
M something.
A Matrox M something.
Yeah.
Which is like two boards clipped together, you see?
Yeah, that's weird.
And then we have the Voodoo 2.
Yeah.
This must be, let's see what we've got in here.
That has to be a special build Matrox with two cards.
We have two hard drives.
Yeah. One of them looks really chunky, so.
Look how clean this is.
This hasn't been opened ever. That's Voodoo 2, yeah?
It's a Voodoo 2, yeah, but no, it has been opened because somebody's taken the CMOS battery out.
Yeah, maybe the technician before they just put it into storage.
This is a Creative Labs Voodoo 2.
So the expensive ones.
The expensive one, yeah.
Let's see.
Is that a 12 meg?
It has all the memory populated, so maybe.
Yeah?
Usually the back ones are missing a few. And they are all populated.
Okay, so we have that.
Yeah, that's a good.
Obviously, we are going to try this machine later.
Yeah, that will be fun.
To see what it does, but that's that. This must be a really early P2.
Yeah, it probably is. Okay, so that's Sandwich. Could it be one of the first workstation class Matrox?
I don't know. It says Matrox 1997 on it.
I remember you could put on an add-on card for more memory on some Matrox card, but I've never seen the add-on itself.
No, I've never seen this before. MY220P. We'll Google that in a minute. Yeah. MY220P. And then let's see what else we have in here while we're at it. This is maybe a Sound Blaster original Creative Labs.
Yeah, that's usually the ones with the colored plugs. So.
Okay, what
there weren't that many bootlegs at that time.
Yeah, this is actually Creative.
AWE.
Oh, AWE.
Oh, I had one of those.
Which one? AWE Creative?
That's 32, I think.
Let's see.
The 64 gold it has a different port on it.
I have one here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a model 4520, so we can Google that.
I think it's the 32-bit one, the cheapest one of them.
What, possibly?
But it's still rare.
Yeah, CT4250. Oh, it's an what were you saying, Carlos?
Oh, it's a 64.
It's an all.
But it's not the gold one.
No, it's an all 64, but not the gold.
I haven't heard about 64 without the gold.
No, and maybe it just doesn't say gold. Guys, I think this is one of the most interesting machines I've ever bought for like €14.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is a really nice find. Just the Voodoo 2 covers everything. Easily.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll have a play with it. I have a few more jobs to do. I'll come back and try this and get it working. I'm doing some more work with Carlos this week.
Yep.
Thanks, Carlos, for getting into it.
Yeah, no problem.
And let's just have a look to see what some of these goodies would be worth on eBay, yeah? Okay, guys, so the All 64, well, they're about £40 worth.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's this exact one, 4520.
It's still strange to me to see a non-gold one. The gold one comes with the front panel. The really nice
the breakout box. Yeah.
My friend is a musician,
yeah.
And he had one when we were young. And we made a lot of stupid songs. I think I have a few. Maybe I'll put them up on my YouTube.
And we have another creative. So this is the Voodoo card.
Yeah.
This is. I think these are about £90. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, that's probably around the ballpark.
6670. It is that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, parts only.
Oh, okay. No, so that's not working actually.
That's not working.
The chance of this working actually is really high. Oh.
Oh, okay. I think we've underestimated the value of these.
Yeah, and you have the cable.
I have the cable.
Missing is the driver. But it's actually not needed because you can download drivers.
I don't have the box. That one doesn't have the cable. Let's see if there's any actually in the sold, because these are actually for sale, and it doesn't always reflect actually what they fetch. So sold listings.
Yeah, I usually also check sold.
No.
150.
150 plus 50 for the sound card. That's £200. Then we have this Matrox card.
I'm actually more interested about that than the Voodoo.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is the it's Mist, MYST. Let me see. So this actually says on it, guys, it says MGA Mist, MGA-MYST. It says that on it, and then some other letters.
So, okay, so there is one, but it's without the extra card.
Without the extra card, yeah. Oh, it's a Mystique. Matrox Mystique, yeah.
Yeah, and those were really good for the time.
But that's without the extra card.
Yeah, so the Mystique is 2 megabytes or 4. You can have both. And
that's a 4 megabytes.
That's the one with the add-on card on it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's ours, definitely.
So this is a 4 meg card, and the normal one is a 2 meg card. Okay.
Yeah, so but again, prices all over the place. 34, 78.
Yeah, so take a roundabout number, about 50-ish.
Yeah, with the big postage as well, obviously. 50. So it looks like we have 250.
250 on add-on cards
alone,
and you have the motherboard and processor.
Yeah,
and the power supply looks to be decent, I guess.
Yeah, extremely clean. Yeah, so that's what we have, guys. But what surprises me how clean all this is. I think there's a good chance this will work.
Yeah, I don't see any damage on anything or any smoke or anything, actually.
No.
And usually these cards are quite reliable.
Yeah.
The older stuff works better when it comes to living longer. Usually components were better back then.
Yeah, and they were under less stress.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Yeah, because the Voodoo 2's clock is about 100 megahertz maximum. No,
something like I don't know.
I don't think it's close to that.
No, probably not. Okay, Carlos. Well, thank you for helping me to open this one up.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'll carry on after Carlos and I have had our conversation and see if we can get this one working. Okay, cheers, Carlos.
Bye, guys.
Carlos has now left the building, but you will be seeing more of Carlos. We have a collaboration video to make, or we may have made by the time you see this one. Guess it depends who's the fastest at doing the editing. So the question is really then, this obviously is a very nice machine, is does it work? The capacitors look good. I'm just going to unscrew the ATX power supply. And you can see down inside here, I don't really want to take this thing apart just at the moment. But we can have a look, I think. I don't know what make this motherboard is. I think back in the day when this was made, and this must be a really early Pentium 2, I would think. If I can see a date on it, 98 it says inside here. Back in the day, often the manufacturers didn't put their name on the motherboards. You know, they didn't claim that they made it. That sort of came later. But possibly there's a model number. So let's see if we can see it without dismantling the machine. Okay. Let's zoom down a little bit. This is most definitely a Pentium 2 with MMX. The capacitors look really nice down inside here, some voltage regulators, 3 strips of RAM as I mentioned, 0198, there's a date on there, this is PLA 120, probably some sort of serial number for the machine itself, but I don't see any trace of actually a manufacturer's name on it. There's a date sticker on the motherboard in the corner, 9801 it says. So that's what we have. Let's test the power supply. I think I'll take the power supply out, or just disconnect it. I'll power it up, I think it'll go onto my analyzer even though it's a 20 way. And let's see if the power supply is giving the correct voltages while it's attached to the hard drives. If it is, I think I'll just power this up. I've connected my analyzer. I've never tried this on a 20 way, but it should work. And as you've just probably spotted, I do have with this the original, well, I assume the original beige power lead, which themselves I believe are a bit hard to find these days. Or so I've heard. Actually, Carlos told me that, so if it's wrong, Carlos, you were wrong, yeah. I'll put the current limiter on, and I'll plug this in and see if it tries to run. There's no active PFC on here, so it shouldn't have a problem, and with pretty much no load it might actually power up. Let's get to the camera so you can see where the light bulb is. The light bulb is just up here, so you should see that come on bright and go dim, I would think. Let's see. Well, actually it didn't do anything, which makes me think maybe this power supply is actually just dead. No, I have a problem with the power switch on my Varia. Okay, one analyzer. What does it do? Yeah, it's powering up, bulb light and dim. So let's switch it directly to mains and let's try it. It's noisy. It's saying that the 12 volt 2 is low, but that's actually not connected. We have 5 volt standby, 3.3, 12.5. So all the voltages are there. So I'm confident we can actually just plug this into the motherboard. And let's see if this thing actually works. So we'll connect to that. Okay. I have the on off switch. We could connect a monitor. Throw caution to the wind. And let's see what it does. So this is the monitor output. I'm going to take the Voodoo card out because I really want that. I'll just power it up without it for now. In fact, I think I'll just take out the cards apart from the graphics card actually. So we'll take this out, take this out. So there's the Voodoo card, there's the AWE64, so we just have the motherboard with the Matrox. I notice this has AGP and yet it's using the PCI graphics card for whatever reason. Okay, let's try it. So we'll put the power on and we'll try and start it. Started. I don't hear any bleeps. Let me see if I get anything on the monitor. CPU fans. Oh no, I do have a blue light on the monitor. Can you see it? Is it going to give us a picture? No, the blue light went off again. Okay, so it doesn't actually give us a picture at the moment. I'm pretty sure I'm on VGA. Yeah, VGA. Not giving us a picture. So then I think we will have to take this motherboard out and have a look to see what is what with it. I now have it much more dismantled. Whoever built this put a piece of foamy stuff under it. Obviously I was concerned about it shorting out. There's a few bolts still stuck in there. I'll take them out in a minute. We have a Pentium 2. Can we see what speed this is? I can tell you which one it is. It's SL2HA. Pentium 2 with a nice hologram on there. Look at that, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what speed it is. I could find out from that code, SL2HA. You probably found out already. So that's the CPU. And just looking under here, there's no manufacturer's mark on this motherboard. So I'll get rid of this actually. Just take this little clip out. There we go. Get rid of that. So there's no manufacturer's mark that I can see. Award BIOS. Really don't know who made this thing. Okay. Really don't know who made this thing. Obviously they didn't really want to own up to it. It says VIGA, but that probably doesn't mean anything. It might say V16A. Yeah. One incognito slot A motherboard. Don't see any model number, any version number, or anything else. Okay. Maybe we can run Specky. I'm not sure what operating system's on this. How are we going to find out what this motherboard is? Hopefully, if it has an OS on the hard drives, we might. And talking of hard drives, here they are. So this one is a Quantum Fireball. This was the slave drive, I'm pretty sure. Jumper in the end position. Look at the other one. The other one's a Seagate. So this is an 8 GB Seagate drive. Jumper in the second position. That's set to cable select by the looks of it. And this one, jumper in the second position. Both set to cable select, so kind of like automatic. This hard drive, can we see the capacity? You know, I don't really. I'm guessing it must be on here somewhere. Let me look under the magnifier. Okay, I just looked it up actually. It's a 3 GB. Could be worth a bit. So one's less than 1 gig, I think are really worth rather a lot of money if they work. If any of this works, I don't know. I think the best thing we can do with this now is put the PCI analyzer card in, or maybe the ISO analyzer card, power it up on a known good power supply and see if it actually works. If it bleeps, we'll take the RAM out. This is PC133. We have 3 strips of it. Well, that's a 64 meg. That one I'm not sure. No, 2 I'm not sure. Maybe they're all 64s. Okay. Put a CMOS battery on as well. You know, guys, I've spotted the first problem with it. The CMOS battery holder is broken, the top's missing off it. Okay, so that needs to be changed. That's the first thing we can say. But it might well boot up without a CMOS battery, so we won't worry about that for now. Let's get a known good power supply and see what it does. Actually, just before I do that, I've spotted a bad capacitor. So this capacitor, I've just tilted a bit, I'm pretty sure you can see the top of it is domed outwards. So that needs to be changed. And I suspect this is the same type and value, so I may as well change them both. So before we actually get around to powering this up, I'll get the capacitor changed. I think I can do this with the CPU still in, as I don't need to use hot air. I can just use a soldering iron. I may decide to change all of them because I think these are all the same type basically, but we can get this one out and have a look at this one. I'll just turn it over. Won't be too difficult to do. The capacitor is here. Actually, while the soldering iron is warming up, I think it's going to be difficult to get hold of that, so I will take the CPU off and you can have a look at this. So these things are held in by clips basically, either ends usually. If you push the clips, it should slot off the holder. So let's see if we can get it out. It's a little bit stiff. It doesn't easily want to come. I thought this might happen. Yeah, it's coming now. Okay, so this is what's called a slot A processor, and we can now see a model number. It was hidden under there. So this is a 94V-0 motherboard. Looks like the date code is 97, the year, and the manufacturer seems to be PSC. There's a little logo here. Maybe somebody knows what that is. The idea of these is that the module contains both the CPU and the cache memory. This one actually is a 300 megahertz. I had to look it up. You can see it's marked here PX300, and then 512 I think will be the size of the cache. EC, possibly error correction cache, and you can see SL2HA is the model. So that's the CPU. I can now get hold of this a lot easier. I mean, this would come off, just the 4 screws, the actual bracket comes off, but I can probably do it like this now. Let's see. So just a little bit of flux. Let's see which way it goes in. It doesn't seem to have a marking on it actually. Oh yeah, this side is a negative towards the CPU holder. So let's get this one. A little bit of leaded solder will help. Okay. Let's see if we can get it. Yeah, it's coming out easily. Okay. Bit of braid. Let's see if it'll clean the holes. Not quite. We can have another go, otherwise we can use the vacuum desoldering tool. Just try adding a bit more leaded solder again. Okay. Let's have another go. No, doesn't quite want to come. Let's try the vacuum tool. To do this, I'll just warm it a bit with the hot air. I'm not going to get it hot enough to melt the solder, just get a little bit of heat into it. That's all, nothing much. Okay, that should do. Just warm the area a little bit and then let's try it. The solder sucker sounds a little bit blocked actually, not badly, but let's just yeah, it's clear. I think you can hear it. Okay, give it about 5 seconds or so. No, that one doesn't want to come. That one came okay. Let's go back to the other one again. You can use the soldering knife for this obviously, but you can be lazy. I'm going to get some solder in. Okay, just a bit of a warm. Okay. Yeah, I think that's right. Still running clean. That'll stop it clogging. Okay. That looks good, guys. I can show you actually. So if we just take the torch. Yeah, I'm sure you can see the light coming through the holes nice and clean. Switch that off. Nice and quiet. So the capacitor is a 6.3 volt, 1500 microfarad. Yeah, we have a replacement here. Oh, it's actually marked quite nice as well on the board. It actually has a plus sign as well. So in this case the white is the negative. It does vary as you've seen, no doubt, on my videos. Put that in. Now we can just push it into place. Yeah, that's sitting nice and flat. Okay. Nice and neat in there. Let's get rid of the excess legs. And then just touch it up a little bit. Nice and clean. Okay. Let's see if that actually works now. I'll just clean the flux off first though. Yep, that looks good. Right, I'll connect it all back up and let's see what it does. Looking at the connection from the front panel, it's a bit unclear. I mean, we've got RST, we've got PSW power switch, suspend switch, and then a plus key lock speaker. And I'm a bit unsure where the power switch goes. Does it reset across here? And there's power there or there? So we can easily find this out actually. We just get the test meter and we connect to ground. I have the power supply plugged in. So wherever the switch is, the reset and the power, we should have 5 volts. There's 5 volts there. Oh, and there's 5 volts there as well. Is this 0? Yeah. 0. So it looks like the switches go vertically. 5 volts to 0, 5 volts to 0. What's on this one? Yeah, another 5 volts and another 0. I've tried to find a user manual for this. I've not had any luck so far, so I've asked on Vogon's forum, see if anybody has any information as to actually who PSC are, if that is the maker, and if I can get any drivers as well, although hopefully the hard drive will run if the motherboard's working. So let's try this now and see if it does do anything. Well, we'll have to turn the power on. I've attached the switch and the speakers. Oh, and it's bleeping. Straight away it's bleeping. That's a good sign. I think it started by itself. This is probably because there's no CMOS battery. Also, of course, on these motherboards there's nowhere to connect the CPU fan, so we need to connect this to the ATX power supply. Let's have another look. So switch on. Started by itself. And it's bleeping, so this is a very good sign. I think I'll put all 3 strips of RAM in. Let's see which because I don't know exactly which order they go in. This will be a 32-bit machine, obviously, so we can just put one strip, I would think. Oh, well, there's a little bit of information here actually that maybe tells us. Oh, these are jumpers for the multiplier and the clock frequency, so we can set those manually on this, and we can actually overclock this. As I recall, you used to be able to take a Celeron 150 megahertz and run them at 450 megahertz. I think this is probably where overclocking really started from, was these P2s. Somebody's going to correct me on that, but that's the first time I ever remember coming across it, really. Maybe on the K5s as well. The RAM is marked DIMM 1, DIMM 2 and DIMM 3. So I'll try one RAM in the slot furthest away from the CPU first. Let's see what it does. So this is in slot DIMM 1. Okay, switch her on. Started. And that's asking for a graphics card. Let's try the one that came with it. I'll just balance this up on the box so we can put the cards in. Here we go. I've put the other camera where you can see the screen, so we'll both do this together, or shall I say we'll all do this together. Let's switch on. Do we get a picture out of it? One bleep, blue lights on, but no picture. Oh! I spoke too soon. So it's running at 275 megahertz. That's going to be the jumper settings, no doubt. So we've got a picture out of it. Let's put the rest of the RAM on if it still boots up. Now let's connect the original hard drives and see what it does with all three strips of RAM then. We have a total of, let's see, (128 meg of RAM, and it wants to boot. Next thing then, let's put the Voodoo card, shall we or shall we not? Let's try it with just the hard drive and see what happens. You know what, guys, ever indecisive, I've had another thought about this. So what I'm going to do is put the Voodoo card back in and the other cards in the slots they came out of before I try to load the operating system. This has Windows 98 on, which I suspect it will have. It might get upset if I alter the configuration, maybe. So I think it's better if we just put the machine back as it was and then try. Assuming the hard drive works and the hard drive has an OS. So this is a Voodoo card. These were one of the first 3D accelerators and the first one that ever seemed to actually do anything. And they were amazing. I mean, we were using these to play the original Tomb Raider and in particular Duke Nukem 3D, and they looked absolutely fantastic compared to the software 3D rendering, and the performance increase was amazing as well. But this card is only a 3D accelerator, it can't do 2D, so you have to have a 2D graphics card. And I would have thought they would have had an AGP in here, but it doesn't matter. So what we have to do is we connect this little cable that comes with the Voodoo to the output of the VGA card. That then goes into the input on here, which is the male connector, the only place it will go. Just get it in. And then we connect our monitor to here. So that's how we connect the Voodoo card. And that actually initially came out of this slot. And then we have this sound card. And I have to check where that was. Give me one moment. Well, actually, guys, I shouldn't need to check because the Voodoo is in this slot. I can see that. And then this wouldn't fit in the first ISO slot anyway because of the bracket. So Another thing out of interest, do you notice that the ISO slots have the components on the opposite side to the PCI and the AGP and PCIe? After ISO, for some reason, they swapped to the other side of the card. Can anybody explain that? Why did they swap to the other side after ISO? Just for the hell of it, yeah? Maybe. For having the components facing away from the CPU, maybe. For whatever reason they did. So we have all the cards in. I'll power it up again with the Voodoo connected and let's see if we get a picture. If we do, we can move on to the hard drive. Okay, so we connect it up. Let's see what it does. Power on, and it started. Obviously the fan needs sorting. We have a blue light on the monitor, we have a bleep. And we get a picture, so that's looking quite promising. Okay, let's connect the hard drive and see if this will boot into the operating system. The hard drives are both set to CS or cable select, and as I recall that means that the one at the end of the cable is the master, but I'm not totally sure that was correct. But anyway, this one was on the end of the cable, so we'll put this into here. It may be the other way around. Maybe the end one was a slave. So that one can go on there. This is the other one. So this can go on the mid part of the cable, where it continues from. And then we need to put power on them, of course. Okay, we're ready. Let's go. Let's see if this will boot. Power on. Noisy fan. If anything's failed, I guess it's going to be the hard drive or hard drives. What do they detect? Looks like they might not do. Well, it's found something, it's waiting. Well, it seems to be hanging. Yeah, it didn't find it. Found a second one. But I don't think that was the... Yeah, that's the slave. Let me see if I can actually get it to pick up the first one or not. I've connected another hard drive and it does pick this hard drive up. This has Windows 98 on, I think. But this is a larger hard drive. I think it's a 20 gig. And it doesn't seem to want to boot, well, it doesn't want to boot from it, that's for sure. It may be that this motherboard doesn't support a hard drive of this size. In fact, it may even be larger. I'll just see which one it is. Yes, this is a 20 gigabyte hard drive, and I have a suspicion this might have a limitation. I don't know. Well, this might not have Windows 98 on, although it's written in pen Windows 98. Or there may be some other reason why it doesn't want to boot from this hard drive, but I don't think it's hardware. So I've posted on Vogon's forum to see if I can get a user manual and some drivers for this, but I think the hardware is probably working, and that's really nice. Although there's quite a lot of money's worth here, I don't think this is going to get sold, as the honest truth. I'm thinking this will be mine. I may ask your opinion, guys. I have a 440BX Pentium 2, Pentium 3 motherboard. I have some faster processors. I also have some AGP graphics cards as well as this PCI one. So what would you do? Would you keep the Voodoo in this with this graphics card? Would you use the 440BX motherboard or not with a faster processor? And would you use an AGP plus the Voodoo? Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some opinions on that in the comments below. But for now, I think we can declare this one as actually almost certainly working, and I will get back to you when I've got some drivers and I've actually tried to see if I can load an operating system out. Let's continue with this. Some days later, I'm not feeling good. I've been quite ill for a few days, but I can speak again now. Not myself, but I'm sure you can hear me. And I felt like I needed to do something. So I asked about this motherboard on Vogon's forum, and nobody gave me a direct answer, but somebody told me that from the award BIOS, this number maybe they were talking about, we could find out what the motherboard is, and yet it doesn't really help me. Now at the bottom is another number, that one, so it's an i440LX, that's the chipset, I can understand that much, and then this number 2869JFDAC. So I've googled for that number, and all I can find is that this is a fungus motherboard. Yeah, so maybe like mushroom, they keep it in the dark and feed it on BS. Yeah, but anyway, let me show you what I did find. This is what the guys on Vogons are telling me, and they are saying identify the manufacturer by its ID in the BIOS string which appears on post. So I'm guessing that's one of those two numbers. The first one just might be the BIOS revision. So I followed the link the guy gave me to this site. I tried searching on here for this number, this 4.51PG or 51PG. I didn't find anything. I will just try searching part of the other one, like 2869J, see if that gives me anything. Well, I'm finding something. So that's it saying Intel 440LXEX. That's all it's saying. It's not saying who made this. Maybe it's an Intel board. Okay, so that's what we have. Does that link give me anything useful? No, it gives me an advert, which I don't want. No, it didn't really tell me anything very much. Oh, here we go. Maybe this will actually tell me something. Let's find the next. No, it's not that one. Maybe I should just try typing a little bit more of it. FD. No, it then doesn't find it. It doesn't go as far as F. So that's as far as we go. Unfortunately, I'm not really finding what I have. I then googled for this string, and it says it's a fungus bias. So whoever fungus or somebody just making a joke here, I don't know. That is in fact the BIOS ID that I have. So I'm hoping somebody here can cast a little bit more light on who made this motherboard and where to find some drivers for it. Because I can't get this to boot from the hard drive, I've attached a 20 gig drive. I'm going to see if I can install a fresh instance of Windows 98 on here. At least that would probably prove that the hardware is actually working, but then I would have to find the drivers for this. But let me see if I can actually install Windows first. I found an old CD-ROM. I had to try a couple till I found one that was working, and I'm now ready to install Windows 98. So I'll get this done, and then let's see if this machine is actually running. Yeah, I'll tell it to do that. Not done this for a while, so I might have to have a little bit of a think about it. I don't think it was so difficult, but hey, you know, this is Windows 98. Yeah. Okay, ready to go. As I recall, this CD that I made actually effectively has the content of what's normally on the floppy, the A drive, to make it work. But it must have been 4 years ago since I made this one, so I can't remember exactly. Well, it restarted by itself, and now it's formatting the hard drive. So this looks like a very good sign. Well, this looks promising, guys. Yeah, looks like it's going to do it, so wait a little while longer, I guess, and see how long it actually takes. I think at this point I'll just choose a sodding typical. And let it get on with it. It took a little while, but Windows 98 installed without any problems. I don't believe it's actually loaded all of the drivers, so now is a matter of searching around to see if we can find the drivers for the other things. I've actually taken the sound card out at the moment. I took it out before I started, but I do have the Voodoo and the Mystic card in there, and they appear to be working okay. Yeah, so I think the hardware's good. I wonder now what we can do with the original hard drive, the 8 gig. Can we actually get it to work? But having a look, it does seem to have found most things. So we have the display adapter, which is the Matrox Mystique. It's got that. I think this other thing, this multimedia device, is probably the Voodoo 2. And some unknown device it thinks is on the USB. Even though this motherboard doesn't actually have any USB connectors, that's a bit interesting. Because there's no USB on this, I think the best way to load the other drivers is to put a hard drive IDE on another machine running a later operating system, copy the drivers to that, then stick it on this machine as a slave drive or instead of the CD-ROM, and then we can just load the drivers that way. But all in all, this is looking pretty good. I found the Creative Voodoo 2 driver. I'm pretty sure this is the correct card that I have, and this was on philscomputerlab.com. So I have that driver, but I'm going to set another PC up so we can see if we can actually do anything with the original hard drive, and while I'm using that, I'll actually copy that onto a drive. I may well use the D drive that came off this machine, the 3 GB. I often joke, actually I'm probably serious, about old Socket 775 motherboards being pretty much useless because they're not old enough to be retro or interesting enough to be retro, and yet they're not really fast enough to run modern applications and operating systems. But that isn't actually quite true, because what they will do, especially if you have a Core 2 Quad or even a Core 2 Duo, to be honest, and put a decent amount of RAM on there, is that they will run Windows 10, and they'll run it well enough to do things like, for example, test IDE hard drives. The other great thing about them is that they have both IDE and SATA on them. So if I've got a SATA drive on here at the moment with Windows 10, I'm going to attach the 3 GB hard drive and see if we can access it, and if we can, I'm going to put the Voodoo drivers on there, and then I'm going to have a look at this 8 gig and see if I can actually get the thing working. If I can get it to spin, I could actually copy off the entire operating system, if that's what's on there, onto another IDE drive using something like Macrium Reflect, and then actually have everything off that drive backed up, and we may be able to boot the original OS. Okay, so it's recognising the 3 GB, not terabyte by the way, it's recognising the 3 GB hard drive. It's a data drive, so obviously got documents on, but I've put the Voodoo 2 drivers in here, I've unzipped it so it's ready to go, so I should actually be able to use this now to install the Voodoo. Let's see if we can do anything with this other hard drive, the one that won't spin. I mean, there's nothing to lose really, so let's have a play with it. Yeah, let's see if we can get it to go. What can we do with an old hard drive like this that won't spin up? Well, quite possibly nothing, but there's a few possible reasons why it might not be spinning up, and we might be able to get it to go at least long enough to get the data off it if we actually wanted to. And maybe with a vintage machine we might want to do that, not personal data but things like the operating system and drivers. This could have Windows 98, maybe Windows 95 on it. Let's see if we can do anything with it. So the first thing is going to be to get this plasticky sleeve off it, and I don't know how easily these came off. We can have a go. Let's see, does it kind of like push back? Oh yeah, it looks like it does. So it looks like this just kind of like comes off. Yeah, it's coming loose. Then we can get at it. So there we have it. Now, I suspect either there's no power getting to it, like there's some sort of problem with the diodes on the input which effectively protect against over voltage, but then it might cause the power supply to trip out, or there might be effectively a fuse or a link blown. So we can have a quick look at that, see if there's power on it. We could try removing the PCB. There'll be some contacts under here, we could try clean them. I mean, obviously if it was really important we could try to get another one of these drives working, take the PCB off it. The EEPROM on these is probably a standard one, if you like, for this model, not a unique one, but we could change the EEPROM from one to another, or it may just be that the heads are kind of like halfway across the platter somewhere, they haven't gone back to zero, so it won't spin up, or it might be the motor effectively seized up or jammed. So let's have a look and see if we can get anywhere with it. There are then some fairly obvious things we can check. We'll put the power on. So, do we have power getting to the hard drive? Well, this is the power connector. So we can see yellow, that's 12 volts, 5 volts, and the black ones are ground. So if we go for one of the black ones, we should have at least 5 volts and 12 volts coming in. So there's the 5. And there's the 12. Now, there's also what looks like a voltage regulator on here. Do you see this thing where it says LD33C? So that's probably a low dropout linear voltage regulator, and I'm guessing pretty much that it's a 3.3 volt output from the port number. I'll just make sure the metal frame of this is actually ground. Yeah, so I've got a good ground point. So we should have 5 coming in, I'm guessing, most likely. Well, there's nothing there. There's 5 there, and there's 3.3 there, so that appears to be working. It's not getting hot like there's a short or anything. These here, these are effectively, oh actually no, these are capacitors. I thought they would be protection diodes. They are capacitors by the looks of it. So we definitely have power supply rails on here, that's the first thing. But I can definitely tell you this is not spinning at all. So one of the things we can do is not too hard, is just give it a little bit of a thump, yeah, because there's nothing to lose. Will it spin? I mean, it could just be jammed. No, I still don't hear anything spinning. Okay. I'm just checking if there's anything getting hot on here. I could use a thermal camera, but I'll use the fingers. Something getting hot would be, for example, the motor controller. But I don't feel anything getting hot on here. So that makes me think most likely the driver's not even trying to power up. I noticed another, looks like a regulator here. I'm not quite sure what it is, but we can check this as well. So we know this one was giving us 3.3 volts. What's this one doing? Nothing there. Nothing there. Well, that one, whatever it is, doesn't seem to be powered up at all. 0, 0, 0. But it could be that this only powers up when the motor spins. Okay. We can have a bit of a nosy round. There's some more big capacitors here, so you'd expect to find some voltage on them. Well, that's got 12 volts on it, so that's reasonable. What else can we say? Another one over here, like an electrolytic or something. 5 volts. What's this big chunky thing got? 3.3. There'll be ground. So we seem to have voltages around here. 1.4. 1.2, that might well be a supply. I mean 1.2, 1.4, if this is some sort of processor effectively, that doesn't surprise me. No, it's not hot, it's a few degrees, that's a bit of power in it. Okay, so the only thing I'm going to say for the moment, without knowing anything much about this, is that, that's at 10 volts, is this doesn't seem to be doing anything, but it seems to have no voltage coming in, no voltage going out. Let's try and just unbolt the PCB and just look for like dirty contacts. I mean, because of the age of this, corroded contacts, or for that matter, just a jammed motor, seem like a reasonable possibility as to what's wrong with it. Well, the contacts look fairly clean, to be quite honest. I can clean this with a little bit of ISO. That you can see just goes onto this PCB here, so we can just use this rubber on this pencil just to clean that up a little bit, but it looks okay to me. I can again just use a little bit of ISO. Then we have these ones here, and these will go to the motor, so that's the motor spindle here, and again I'll use a little bit of ISO on that. We can see that the motor tracks, the 3 of them, come around here and go in this general direction, so most likely this is the actual motor controller. Is this thing here connected to that thing there? I wonder. Just out of interest. I mean, I'm not sure I'd find a data sheet for it, but let's have a quick look. It looks like it might do. I mean, one tab I'm guessing might be ground, but it might not be. Let's go into continuity. Bleep, yeah. So this end is ground. So one end you would think might be the input. Let's have a look. Well, obviously there's no input on it, we know that. That goes on that way somewhere to a little transistor. What's this middle one do? Not sure exactly where it goes to. Does any of them go to this chip? This is what I'm kind of interested in. So what does this one go over here? Yeah. Yeah, that goes there. This end we know is ground. So I think we can assume then that this one is the input pin, if that is going to the chip. So this is supposition, guys, yeah? I've just had a little bit of a poke around this, and it doesn't make a lot of sense exactly to me. So we know this pin is connecting to ground. We know that's ground. What you're reading as well, it's almost ground, it's very close, low resistance to ground. But it's not quite. Okay? This pin doesn't go to ground, this pin doesn't go to ground. Now this one, if you look at it, goes to the output of, I'm guessing, collector or drain or source of this little thing, which could be a transistor, bipolar, could be a MOSFET. Yeah. So let's have a quick look. Oh, well that reads like a short across there. I mean, this could be like possibly some sort of diode. Yeah, so it could be like just a diode and a single diode, so these pins are connected together, but then they'd be connected to the same tracks, wouldn't they? They're not, I don't think. I don't think they're actually connected together. I have to get a microscope to be sure. But we have that. Now, this also goes to here, and if you look, this is like a row of low value resistors, 2 ohm, I think. 2222, which like in power gives like half an ohm. And that comes from over this way somewhere, yeah. So, those look like, oh, they might be current sense resistors. I mean, it's possible this end is ground. If these are current sense resistors, maybe, and the other end are connecting to where the motor goes or something, I'm not sure. Where's the end of these resistors go to? Well, the effectively goes to ground, so it's going to read like ground anyway. Well, that goes to there, which we think was ground. Okay, this might be a ground. I was thinking if these are like resistors, this would be a power rail, but it could effectively be a ground. I'm not totally sure why this thing reads short. I can see if I find out, we'll take it off the board. And let's even find a data sheet for this thing. What is it? ST, so we might have a chance with it. It's there, so CHN DID5B. Is that a diode? And we can just look at this thing now, and those two pins that are reading short are not connected to each other, that's for sure. But they could be connected across those low value resistors and it would look like a short. Okay, I've had a bit of a look at this, and it sort of possibly makes a bit of sense. So this is the chip. I'm sure this is the motor controller, and there's a track, quite a thick one from here, coming to this. Now this ST-DID5B is actually an N-channel MOSFET. So this is the gate, this is the drain, and this is the source, and the drain is connected to here. And I'm assuming there should be a voltage appearing here coming from this chip, but I'm not totally certain that's the case. If you look at the other end of it, and this is why I don't think this is supplying voltage that way, this is the gate and this is a capacitor. Now this is the transistor, it's a 1AM, that's a bipolar transistor, base, collector, emitter, and it reads like it's short between the base and the emitter. But if you look from the source of this, we go to this row of low value resistors all in parallel, giving half an ohm, and I'm pretty much assuming this is current sensing and this end is ground, and it looks like this end is connected to here. Yeah, and what I'm reading on my meter was the resistance of this, about half an ohm, when I thought this pin was connecting to ground. I'm reading that. So it looks like the base is effectively measuring the voltage across the resistor, okay, and that voltage via the transistor collector, if you like, amplified, is feeding back to the gate. And I think this is some sort of constant current type thing, so this regulates the current depending on the voltage across here. And it says in the data sheet for this that this MOSFET is for DC to DC converters and for motor controllers, and I think that's what it is. I think most likely this just isn't trying to start, like possibly it's just a faulty motor controller. We know it's not getting hot and we know there's power on the board. But what I could just do, and there's nothing to lose, is just let's open this drive up. I want to see whether or not the platter is jammed, is the motor jammed, or are the heads jammed. To do this, I'm just going to go ahead and get inside this drive, and let's have a look what's in here. I think maybe this will fit. Yeah, it's the same one I used to unscrew the PCB, so it makes sense to the same size screws. But there again, makes sense, and what you actually have are often not the same thing. Or there again, maybe it just doesn't make sense to you, but it made sense to somebody else. Well, it could be somebody just bought a few million of the wrong size screws, yeah, and had to use them. Okay. I'm thinking this one has to come out as well, and it looks like there's like a little plasticky cover over here, but let's undo it. This might be where the heads are. Okay, so well, it doesn't want to come apart easily. Okay, I'm not sure there's another screw under here. Is there some tape holding it together? Yeah, it looks like there might be like a kind of a sealing tape on it. It's going to come off anyway. Yeah, looks like this is like a metallized tape that seals it. It's no longer sealed. But if it is jammed and we can get the thing to spin, although it's not a clean room, the chances are it won't go long enough to get all the data off it. Let's have a look. It's coming off. What I thought might be that the head is in the middle of the drive. Now, there's only one platter in here, yeah, and the head is kind of, it's not parked. I think you're supposed to rotate this actually as you do. Yeah, you see, this is what I wasn't doing. You don't do what I've just done, guys. Don't do it. Yeah, learn something. Yeah, what you do is you rotate this until it parks. Yeah, let's see if the thing will spin. Okay, so I've showed you how not to do it. Let's see what it does. I have to put the PCB back on, obviously. You can see we have the Voodoo and the All64. They're there, fine. So everything seems to be working on this machine, just a few little things I just mentioned. So we have the jumpers here which set the clock frequency on the multiplier. Sorry if they don't quite focus well on the webcam, but they are there. And then we have the little table here which actually specifies the settings. Probably doesn't focus very well again on the webcam with the reflection. But basically I have this set to 4.5 times 66, which is the correct setting for the Pentium 2300, but it's come up in the BIOS as Pentium 2275 MHz. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe I need to do a little bit more reading. I need to replace the CMOS battery holder, and we have the noisy fan. But other than that, this is working. So there we have it, guys. Another one fixed and running, saved from this skip. I think this is a really nice little find, to be honest. I mean, 13, 14 euros at the car boot sale. I know some of you guys wonder and ask, why is it worth fixing this old stuff? Well, in the case of this one, it's like £300 there, yeah, of kit all working. Although the chances are I should just keep it for myself, or maybe just keep hold of it for a few years, because unlike modern graphics cards and motherboards and CPUs, these are going up in price rather than down. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Sorry for the bad throat and the ill health. Hopefully I'll be feeling much better tomorrow. And I'll see you all soon on another Learn Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.